Conduct thee without covetousness, be content with such things as you have, for he himself said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. So we may boldly not help or I will not fear what humanity. So once again, how can we be content? And are we, kind of want to look at ourselves today about kind of question, are we content? Are we always want more? And greed, covetousness, jealousy, and idolatry all feed into our desire for more. And is greed only about money?
Used to be greed was used to describe something that was a glutton.
Right.
And a pig that ate a whole lot, and said, that's a greedy pig.
Yeah. Yeah, greed and avarice, those always seem to kind of go together, so.
We read about things you might can buy.
Yeah.
Self-desires and all.
If you, say you've got a nice place, you got a nice house you're living in, but you always kind of wanted to have a little land, something a little more. Is that wrong? But could it be wrong?
If it's improper desire.
Right,
What's the motive of the desire?
right, exactly.
It also depends on what you do to get something like a better house.
Right,
How you go about getting it, if you ever do. You might forget it today if you would do things that are sinful.
right.
But you don't, if you're content, you don't, otherwise you can't do that today. And be thankful, always be content. Be thankfulness is a lot of contentment.
We can, go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, defining content depends on personality types, 100%. And you can, once you define the personality types, then you pretty much define the intent and the kind of contentment. And I wouldn't start at the top, I'd start at the bottom, and it's a pretty wide subject.
Yeah. But sometimes it's hard for us to be content when things aren't going the
But
way
my
we like,
question is,
right?
why be content? I mean, you content with Biden right now? I'm not.
I was thinking more along the lines of Paul, when he was in prison, said he was content.
I outgrew my store in Old, so,
Oh, I didn't know that.
and I rented the building next to him. And I sort of think,
You're expanding.
since I did this, I think about those boys built a bigger barn,
Yeah. We'll get to that in a minute too. Get to that in a minute too.
Don't think that easy.
Let's turn to Colossians 3 and verses 5 and 6. Someone will read that.
Put to death, therefore, what is earthly in you, sexual immorality, impurity, passion, evil desire, and covetousness, which is idolatry. On account of these, the wrath of God is coming.
Upon the sons of disobedience. So,
Wait a minute. Okay, I see, I have a footnote, where I was talking about upon the sons of disobedience, I don't have it in my Bible either, but it's not sure with it.
right.
Okay, I didn't read that question.
So it says here that covetousness is idolatry. Do we usually think of that way?
Should.
it could be.
Because you're worshiping something else?
People, I think, need to be covetous over the things that they actually have. They're so enthralled with what they have that well, it's like the rich man, he was so, I don't need God, because I got all of this on my own.
Did he?
He didn't. he didn't get it on his own.
But don't people think that a lot, especially today? Isn't that kind of what we're taught? What you see on TV and social media?
That's the regular way.
Why do people take pictures of things, and post them and say, this is my whatever, or this meal we were eating, and it's like,
I work 40 hours a week at one job and 20 more at another one for us to get this.
yeah,
It's mine.
what difference does it make?
Yeah.
Yeah, the big deal is you said
Well, I hear that.
Oh, absolutely, all the time.
That's the regular way.
That's
That's
the way.
On bootstrap.
Sure. And in kind of a way, this country and the way we were founded and hard work and sometimes that can kind of lead us to thoughts like that. I mean, I know personally, I was always so proud of myself when I could do something and do it on my own. And people would ask me, can I help you? And I said, no, I got it, and it's like,
Yeah, we say we worked hard all our life to get what we got. But we don't give God the credit because he gave us the ability to work and the health to work. So really, we didn't do anything.
Well, one thing that always keeps me along that line is that I go back to the Jesus Christ bought us Christ, so it's his anyway.
right. Have you ever done something I think I've even used this example before. I remember I was pretty young, maybe 8 even, got time to start mowing in the spring, the lawnmower wouldn't work, and, I tore it down because I'd watch my dad do things and clean the carburetor, clean the jets out and reset the float, and sanded where the flywheel comes around and give you your spark. Cranked it up, I remember thinking, I did pretty good at that time. And then later in life, I had something kind of on the same lines, and I was kind of proud of myself for that. And I got thinking, how was I able to do that? Wasn't anything I did. The knowledge to do that and the ability to do that comes from God. So it's real easy to get smoked sometimes on things like that. Let's turn to Ephesians 4. And look at verses 18 through 24. Someone get that, would they read that, please?
18.
Yeah, 18 through 24.
They are darkened in their understanding, alienated from the life of God because of the ignorance that is in them, due to their hardness of heart. They have become callous and have given themselves up to sensuality, greedy to practice every kind of impurity. But that is not the way you learn Christ, assuming that you have heard about him and were taught in him, as the truth is in Jesus, to put off the old self, which belongs to your former manner of life and is corrupt through deceitful desires, and to be renewed in the spirit of your minds, and to put on the new self, created after the likeness of God in true righteousness and holiness.
So how are we supposed to be after we come new?
Focused on God.
Like, not like we were before? Hard to do sometimes though, isn't it? And it's not just money and things.
But after you become a Christian, it is a complete new, it's like a turn of a leaf, a whole new leaf, a whole new way of life. You just put away the old, there you are with the new.
Right. You would always do that though. Unfortunately, we're here, in this place, so there are gonna be things that tempt us. Let's go to Exodus 20:17. pretty good list here that, someone read that, please, Exodus 20:17.
You shall not covet your neighbor's house, you shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his manservant or maidservant, his ox, donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor.
Anything.
Well, it covers it, doesn't it?
Yeah. How about rain, John? Cover your neighbor's rains and stuff.
I don't think
That's
we
right.
have to worry about that anytime soon.
That's right. But it's kind of funny, you know, when you think about it. Or I wish my pasture growing hay a little better so I could keep a cow. I don't mind myself.
Yeah, sure, it's different than that. True, because
That's right. But I'm on the other end of the spectrum. I don't want that my head grass to grow because I have one like I did yesterday. 5 acres of it. So that pretty well covers it, doesn't it?
It's
About,
like what we pray to God for. I remember when our kids were in high school, they were Dallas Christian, and my mother lived over near Fort Worth Christian, and they were gonna play each other in a football game.
okay,
And a lady there at the church was telling my mother that Fort Worth Christian was gonna win because the cheerleaders got together and prayed about it. And I thought, I don't think God cares if Dallas Christian or Fort Worth Christian win. And I said, what if the cheerleaders over at Dallas Christian pray?
that's right.
So we pray for the wrong things sometimes. They needed to be praying about being careful and being not hurt, things like that. But we seem sometimes to get the things that are unimportant at the top of our list. And that's when we start coveting and seeing things that other people have and wish ours was a little bit better. And we need to just be thankful for what we have because we all have more than most of the world.
Absolutely.
And we have to think about that there are so many blessings that we have that we forget about. And we need to think about them and remember who gave them to us.
Yeah, I remember growing up, my mom said, you better eat all your food if you're going, there are starving kids in China, you know?
Joe, saying that to China.
But that's what my mom said, you know?
Don't ever say, send it to them.
Yeah.
I don't want it. You may not get that again for.
That's right.
Along with what she was saying. You know, even the poorest of the poor in this country, there are people in other countries that would think everybody here was rich. Even whether they even had a car, even two wheels of return, they were still rich.
Why does everybody want to come here? It's not because we're a horrible nation. Turn to Joshua 7, 19 through 26. Joshua 7, 19 through 26. Talk about Achan. Someone like to read that? Joshua
19 to 27.
7, 19 through 26.
Then Joshua said to Achan, my son, I implore you, give glory to the Lord, the God of Israel, and give praise to him, and tell me now what you have done. Do not hide it from me. So Achan answered Joshua and said, truly I have sinned against the Lord, God of Israel. This is what I did. When I saw among the spoil a beautiful mantle from Shinar, and 200 shekels of silver, and a bar of gold, 50 shekels in weight, then I coveted them and took them, and behold, they are concealed in the earth, and inside my tent with silver underneath it. So Joshua sent messengers, and they ran to the tent, and behold, it was concealed in his tent with silver underneath it. They took them from inside the tent, and brought them to Joshua, and all the sons of Israel, and they poured them out before the Lord. Then Joshua and all Israel with him took Achan, the son of Zerah, his silver, the mantle, the borrowed gold, his sons, his daughters, his oxen, his donkeys, his sheep, his tent, and all belonging to him, and brought them to the valley of Achor. Joshua said, why have you troubled us? The Lord will trouble you this day. And all Israel stoned them with stones. They burned them with fire after they had sown them with stones. They raised over him a great heap of stones that stands to this day. The Lord turned for the fierceness of his anger. Therefore, the name of that place has been called the Valley of Achor to this day.
Ooh, is that overkill? That was, and I think Acre, of course, that's still well known, that valley, I think that means trouble, from what I looked. So,
God hates sand.
yeah,
We forget that.
I think this was a pretty good example of the way he feels about it. And what did that come from? What was Achan's big problem? Yeah, an eye problem. Yeah. So, I think that's a pretty good idea of how he feels about when we do things like that, so. So why is greed sinful?
Because of what it makes us do. Sometimes, the way we think.
Which is what we are.
I was gonna say the same thing.
We're focusing on something else, right?
If we're greedy, we may not be sharing with somebody that needs it. That needs what we have, but we don't.
Right.
Show the heart problems, we want to heart.
And who does greed hurt? Just the greedy person, or pretty much everybody, doesn't it?
Obviously, his family.
Makes you very self-centered.
Yeah. Just like James said, if you have something, then you're gonna keep it to yourself. If someone else needs it, I mean, you're hurting them too.
Well, a greedy person sometimes, that's all they think about. And so they miss out on so much of life and so many other things they're supposed to be thinking about. Because they're thinking about how am I gonna get this next, whatever it is, maybe $1 million or something. Or how am I gonna build a bigger football?
Public Service clearing that.
Yeah.
I had an aunt that thought that she was on the last stage one time. That she was gonna win that and everything would be great after that.
Well, it's kind of fun to enter those things anyway. Then you get to thinking about the postage and you quit. But anyway, that's, you know, they don't educate themselves any further or anything else. They don't get to know people, they don't do anything, any of the things we're supposed to be doing besides. There's nothing wrong with having, it's how we use what we have. And
Correct.
a friend of mine used to say, if you, along with prosperity comes responsibility to other, and she meant to other people that, and she was quite comfortable and she was very generous with hers. But that was her philosophy. I have that responsibility because I have.
Right. Yeah, we're told that it's gonna be hard for a rich man to enter heaven, right? But it's not impossible. So,
Yeah, we probably all better be careful because we're all pretty rich.
absolutely, absolutely.
The most misquoted verse in the Bible is money is really long.
It's the love of money.
Never
Yeah.
No, it's the love of money. But you hear that all the time.
all the time.
Well, you know, love of money, but either way you say it, there's some truth to it.
Sure.
So,
It's the love of money or what it can bring you, so. I like his statement, greed depends on us falling for Satan's lies. He wants us to believe that things will satisfy us, or if we don't have enough, we need to get more, so that'll make us happy. Do you find it to be true? I think I think that always kind of hits me every time I buy a new car. You know, and why the dealer always wants you, oh, take it home and drive it home, and so you get that good smell and how good that thing drives and all, and then you make that purchase, and for me personally, it's almost like, why did I do that? I could have gotten here, there, you know, a lot cheaper than this, or, so, but I think that's how that kind of works with anything, not just cars, but anything you see that you think, oh, I gotta have that. Something else will take care of it, you know, you don't have to do that. So let's turn to 2 Kings 5, 20 through 27. Second Kings 5, 20 through 27. Somebody want to read that?
But Gehazi, the servant of Elisha, the man of God, thought, behold, my master has spared this Naaman, the Arameans, by not receiving from his hands that he brought. As the Lord lives, I will run after him and take something from him. So Gehazi pursued Naaman. When Naaman saw one running after him, he came down from the chariot to meet him and said, is all well? And he said, all is well. My master has sent me, saying, behold, just now 2 young men of the sons of the prophets have come to me from the hill country of Ephraim. Please give them a talent of silver and 2 changes of clothes. And Naaman said, be pleased to take 2 talents. And he urged him and bound 2 talents of silver in 2 bags with the 2 changes of clothes, and gave them to 2 of his servants, and they carried them before him. And when he came to the hill, he took them from their hand and deposited them in the house, and he sent the men away, and they departed. For he went in and stood before his master. And Elisha said to him, where have you been, Gehazi? And he said, your servant went nowhere. Then he said to him, did not my heart go with you when the man turned from his chariot to meet you? Is it a time to receive money and to receive clothes and olive groves and vineyards and sheep and oxen and male and female servants? Therefore the leprosy of Naaman will cleave to you and to your descendants forever. So he went out from his presence, a leper as white as snow.
Not just him.
His descendants.
So what did he do? What did he bring on his family? And why?
We can pass greed to the next generation, you know. If you don't spend time with your children and you spend all your time on your job trying to rack up money and buy things and stuff, that you're teaching that that's the way you ought to live to the next generation.
And we think that's gonna make them happy.
And it's
Short term maybe, but
I've found that the more you have, the more you have to take care of.
Yeah.
yeah. That's true. You're absolutely right.
It can become an albatross.
Well, and I think not only do you more to take care of, but then there's more that you think you have to worry about too, right? About somebody getting, or. So what other lies does Satan use to tempt us with greed?
And it's never enough. And once you get one thing, then there's something else. You know, I do woodworking. I found out that the main tool is the least of your investment. It's all the other tools that go along with it, and you become a collector of tools instead of a woodworker.
We got a shop full of woodworking tools. Don't use them much, so they're nice to have when I want to do something, but sometimes I look and think,
You know, along that line, my husband was a wood carver. And he bought good stuff, and that was okay.
sure,
You never replace it.
yeah, you don't want cheap stuff.
But anyway, when he died, that was what I thought, well, I would get rid of that first. That was one of the hardest things I had to get rid of.
Sure. But you probably didn't know what it was worth either.
I didn't.
Because I worked with a fellow, and doesn't say much for his character. But in fact, I think several of them I got started in woodworking, and he was one of them. And then he used to listen. I think he came out of Glaywater, trade y'all on the radio.
Yeah.
And most of my stuff's craftsman, but some of it's really old, so it's really good, heavy cast iron.
Yeah.
But he started that way, but then he started horse trading and all, and then he got Powermatic, which I lust after Powermatic because that's what we had in the high school shop. And I knew that was good stuff. But he was telling me about a little lady, whose husband did a lot of woodworking, and bought a lot of things from her. And if you're a woodworker, you know that clamps are not cheap, especially good clamps. And you need a bunch of them. So he bought those, and I said, hey, I'd like to buy some of those clamps from you, certain ones. And the price he put was just exorbitant, but what he paid her, because she didn't know what she had, was really low. And that kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
David Woodcarver bought what he liked was Exacto, and they were expensive too.
Mhm.
And I had people come and look at it, and they say, oh, I can't afford these, and that was it.
Right.
And I hadn't even given them a price.
They knew it was good stuff.
Yeah.
So how do we recognize greed in our own hearts? Yes.
What do you spend your time at? What do you?
What's important to you?
Yes. I think that's one way to look at it.
I agree.
Because how you spend your time, there's a whole lot about what's in your heart.
How you spend your time, what you spend your time thinking about or studying. Definitely. Turn to Ecclesiastes, chapter 4, verse 8.
Okay.
Ecclesiastes 4:8.
Or
Yes, sir.
one person who has no other, either son or brother, if there is no end to all his toil, and his eyes are never satisfied with riches, so that he asks, from whom am I toiling and depriving myself of pleasures? This also is vanity and unhappy business.
What does he tell us here?
You don't need everything your eyes see. You don't need to be greedy.
No. And you can be alone with that, can't you?
You gotta think too about, you work so hard to give to your children and grandchildren and leave a heritage, but I've seen many times that easy come, easy go, that they didn't work for that.
Right.
So, but they want it so that they can buy the cool stuff that they couldn't work for.
Yeah, when I was talking to my people at Edward Jones, they said something, okay, what about your legacy? I said, legacy? Yeah, my kids are on their own. I always loved that little bumper sticker on that motor home with a little car behind it that said, we're spending our children's inheritance. I kinda like
Tell my kids that all the time.
that. Well, it is true. If you don't work for something and it's just handed to you, it's really hard to.
We've always told our kids that, nobody's gonna make it living for you.
you know, I think if we do that, we're cheating. Really, we're not doing what we're supposed to do as parents, so. It's different, you know, if it's like a family business or something that's passed down, but they need to work, you know, they don't just need to be handed it, they need to work for that, so. If you would turn to Kings 21, I'm sorry, let's just look. Let's go to First Kings, we have to write that down. 21, 1 through 4, if that fits not, then we'll go to Second Kings. How about that? 4 and 8, I'm sorry, 21, 1 through 4.
Yes.
Okay, that's the right one. You'll read that, Barry? You'll read that?
Now it came about after these things that Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard which was in Jezreel beside the palace of Ahab, king of Samaria. And Ahab spoke to Naboth, saying, give me your vineyard, that I may have it for a vegetable garden, because it is close beside my house, and I will give you a better vineyard than it is in its place. If you like, I will give you the price of it in money. But Naboth said to Ahab, the Lord forbid me that I should give you the inheritance of my fathers. So Ahab came into his house, sullen and vexed, because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him. For he said, I will not give you the inheritance of my fathers. And he lay down on his bed and turned away his face and ate no food.
Was he proud?
How did
Yeah. So evidently Ahab was a teetotaler, he just wanted to grow vegetables. And
He'd
not
already
to,
gotten somebody else's farm.
yeah. So, do we act that way when we don't get things we think we should have? Turn to Philippians 4, 10 through 14. Fortunately, there's only one. Philippians 4, 10 through 14.
I rejoiced in the Lord greatly that now at length you have received your concern, or you have revived your concern for me. You were indeed concerned for me, but you had no opportunity. Now that I am speaking in need, for I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound in any and every circumstance. I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. I can do all things through him who strengthens me.
14.
Yet it was kind of you to share my trouble.
Okay. Learn to be content in all things. And how did he say he did that? How did he say he did that? That's right. Yeah, I'm not sure I would be quite so content if I've been shipwrecked in prison so many times, and so he learned to be content no matter what situation he was in. The thing that's amazing about that is he not only was he content, but he urged others and even when he was in prison, to spur them on. So here's a good question. Does content mean to exclude aspiration or improvement? We're supposed to be content, but are we not supposed to?
Even Paul said that he presses on.
Some to the devil.
Yeah.
Right.
and you have to prepare for growing old, for retirement. Maybe helping your grandkids at college.
The difference in being
And just
content,
like taking care of your vehicle, you have to do it if you want to keep running, right?
the difference in being content just sitting on your laurels, isn't it? 1 Corinthians 7, that is 1 Corinthians, I did write that down. 7, 21 through 24. Someone would read that, please. 1 Corinthians 7, 21 through 24.
Art thou called being a servant? Care not for it, that thou mayest be made free, use it readily. For he that calleth in the Lord, being a servant, is the Lord's freedom. Likewise also he that is called being free is Christ's servant. How far?
Did you go through 24?
Ye are brought with a price, be not ye servants of men. Rather, let every man wherein he is called, therein abide with God.
So it has, in parentheses, do not be concerned about it, but if you can gain your freedom, avail yourself of that opportunity.
Not just flows me, campaign. Turn to 1 Timothy 6, 6 through 10. Now God is great gain, for we brought nothing into this world, and it's certain we can carry nothing out. And having food and clothing, with these we shall be content. But those who desire to be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and harmful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. Here we go. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil, for which some have strayed from the faith in their greediness and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. So why is it important for strong Christians like Timothy to meditate on contentment instead of thinking about what else we?
It's easy to see what the world has, and I deserve that too. I deserve to have those things, and we can end up taking time away from the most important task to do what is not important and maybe selfish gain.
It says in the Constitution that we should have free health. That's what I heard.
Yeah, and pay back.
Or we should have free education. Yeah, that's in the Constitution, right?
You know, a good example is Joseph. He was, he didn't want to be a servant, a slave, but he was content, didn't forget God, and as he did, the part about doing better, because if he knew where he was at, he always rose above.
It could have been like,
Bitter, angry,
look what the world
not
did
did
to
a
me.
good job, forgot about God.
Right. Absolutely. Great example.
We've all heard the story about a man died, and he had a U-Haul trailer back with a hearse.
Yeah.
They said, the roads built like that, we'll take roads.
Oh, yeah. What do you think in ancient civilizations, they buried them all with gold, and what good is that gonna do them in the afterlife? So,
It's kind of like, the joke about the guy that died and goes to heaven, and he had taken his gold bars with him.
yeah,
And he said, why did you bring paper?
yes. I like that. Depends on what's precious, right? So, let's turn to Matthew 8:20. That one in Matthew 16:26. Somebody get Matthew 8:20 and Matthew 16:26.
8:20 says, and Jesus said to him, foxes have holes, and birds of the air have nets, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head.
It's a sad state, isn't it? Matthew 16:26.
For the profit of man, if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul, what will a man give in exchange for his soul?
So Jesus kind of model of contentment, right?
You remember when Jesus was tempted in the wilderness? He was offered the riches of all of the world. Jesus chose to do what God wanted.
Right.
So he had that offer of what do you get in the whole world?
Right.
Well, he had that choice. In fact, he already owned it.
I was gonna say, it's kind of ironic because he already,
Yeah,
uh,
he, you know, the one that gave up all the riches became poor so that we could become rich spiritually.
that's, yeah. Not about what's here. It's about what's waiting for us. So, looks like we're about ready. Thank y'all so much.
Good class.